Our next guest just completed a deal today to create the first publicly traded space infrastructure company. Brian KABOT is the CIO of Stable Road Capital, whose SPAC merged with Momentus. The company, with an enterprise value of around $1.2 billion, lists on the Nasdaq. Brian, welcome. It's good to see you.
You as well, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, congrats on the deal.
Thank you very much.
Why Momentus? Why the space economy?
Sure. Look, the U.S. economy is obviously fairly starved for growth. We're very long in a cyclical recovery here, and space is probably the most interesting and unique growth avenue in the U.S. economy. We're looking at $415 billion in revenue today, projected to grow to $1.4 trillion by 2030, according to Bank of America. So when we started looking in the space industry, we really set out to do is merge with a high quality value add business, kind of a pick and shovel business that could win regardless of who ultimately wins that space race. And Momentus is really the key to commercializing and industrializing the space economy.
This company is a strategic partner with SpaceX, right? Elon Musk. So this is essentially betting on Musk and SpaceX to win that space race, as you're talking about.
It is certainly partially a bet on SpaceX, although we do work with other launch providers. We will work with, whether it's Relativity or ILS, eventually Blue Origin. But for now, SpaceX is our key strategic partner. They get us from Earth to space, and then our vehicle delivers those satellites from the Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket into their final orbit.
I get it. So that's what the so-called last mile delivery service is all about, and that's what the specialty is here.
That's right. And it's really all predicated on a patented and proprietary water plasma propulsion technology, which is the cheapest, most efficient propulsion technology for maneuvering around in space. So I think of it as the Uber pool of the satellite industry.
I got you. Okay, well put. I read that the company has contracts for $90 million in potential revenue, I should note potential, over the next several years. What kind of risk is involved in those kind of forecasts?
Yeah, a portion of that 90 million is fully contracted, and then a portion are options that are written into the agreements. But in addition to that $90 million backlog, the company has built north of $1 billion pipeline, which we think will have a very high conversion rate here over the next few years.
You mentioned the vehicle that you have. We're looking at a launch in just a couple of months, right? In December, there's been test launches in the past, but this is the first commercial launch coming up in December.
That's correct. We had a very successful test launch. The vehicle is still flying around in space, which is great. Our first commercial launch will be in December 2020 with SpaceX. We have a pretty full vehicle of satellites to deliver. And then we have a phenomenal launch cadence for 2021, going up with SpaceX in February, June, and December 2021. We actually have 1.5 vehicles already booked for December 2021. So pretty aggressive launch cadence with SpaceX.
The other interesting note is that Momentus comes out of Y Combinator, which is a very well-known incubator, if you will. Its biggest investor, as I reported last night, is Prime Mover Labs, whose LPs are very well known to our viewers. Bill Ackman, Joe Lonsdale of Palantir, Tony Robbins, Joe Montana's Liquid 2 VC fund, among many other notable names. How did the involvement of those investors come about?
Yeah, look, it's a great validation of what this company is building, right? And so Y Combinator, obviously one of the highest quality names out there. They were really, aside from the CEO, Mikhail Kokorich, who put his own money in, Y Combinator was really first money in the door, stood the company up, and then as you pointed out, Prime Movers Labs came. They're the largest investor, and their LP base is, as you said, the kind of the who's who: Dmitry Balyazny, Bill Ackman, Joe Lonsdale, the Lerner family. They have been a lot more than just passive capital. They've been incredibly supportive investors, really helping institutionalize this company that is still a fairly young company, but in a very short period of time have become a strategic partner to SpaceX, have customer contracts with NASA and Lockheed Martin. So just this whole confluence of dynamics created a very attractive target for our SPAC.